Gutting the Sacred Cow. What it is I'm a stand-up comic as well. My co-host Kevin Israel and we're both film snobs. And what we do is we decided to take a well-known topic and flip it around. And what we do is we invite guests on other comics, other podcasters, and their job is they pick a film. And they're going to pick the film that they just find insanely overrated or flat out hate. But here's the twist. Anyone can go and tear apart Friday the 13th, Part 5 or whatever. The film that they choose must meet one of three criteria. It has to be a box office success. It has to be a critically acclaimed hit, or it has to be widely beloved. And then they have to go and gut the sacred cow, hence the name of the podcast. So they have to convince us why a really well-known, loved, regarded, revered film is crap in a sense. And we've had a lot of, we've got some big names on the show. We had John Fugelsang from SiriusXM, Jude Angelini. And a lot of these guys have taken down some big names like Star Wars, Pulp Fiction, Big Lebowski, Joker, Forrest Gump. A lot of these names are out there. A lot of well-known films people are not fans of. So that's what the podcast is about.
Just a minute. How can you take down?
Actually, that sounds like a lot of.
How can you take down Forrest Gump?
Yeah, very easily. It's not a good movie.
It's not.
No, I don't think it is. I'm also a little jaded because in 1994, which was one of the great years for film, that was nominated and won best picture, as we know. Now, two other films I felt could have won were snubbed in that sense. Pulp Fiction, which is my second favorite film of all time and still fantastic. Kimberly, don't wince. It's an amazing film. And Shawshank Redemption. That also
I fall asleep every time I watch it, but go ahead.
How? It is one of the most character-driven, dialogue-heavy, fantastic films ever made. But anyway,
I love the characters, though. I love the characters.
Yeah, but Shawshank lost and Pulp Fiction lost to this. This just is sentimental. Nothing. It's like, yeah, you like the Forrest Gump. He's all fine and well. But Jenny is the biggest, I hate to say it, turd in the punch bowl. Jenny is a horrible person. Okay. She is not a good person. And
Jenny.
Oh, come on. She uses him. She gets all, and she's just a horrible person and just brings him down whenever he's around. Not a good film. Not a fan.
No, I agree with you on that. I think that's what kind of makes it realistic is there are a lot of people like that in your life that do nothing but bring you down and put a weight on you.
Wait, didn't Jenny let Forrest sit next to him in the bus?
Good for her. How magnanimous
of her. Of kindness that you couldn't possibly imagine.
It really is just a film, I think, just to, hey, let's just tug on the heartstrings for 2.5 hours. By the way, drags way longer than it should. It doesn't flow. Pulp Fiction.
Run, Forrest, run.
Yeah, there you go. And it gave birth to one of the most cliched, hacked lines in film history. But
it's definitely Kevin, Mark, a fellow podcaster here. Just a quick question for you. Well, a couple of things that popped into my head is, and I'm actually a big fan of Pulp Fiction, by the way. I haven't seen it in a while, but I'm a big fan. But I was wondering, have any of your people tackled the big epics? Because they were some great films to some degree, but I can see where something like Gandhi or Red could be torn apart because they also are very long.
Great question.
I was also wondering if anybody had tackled some of the classic African-American gentlemen here, light skin, of course, but I was just wondering if anybody had tackled some of the big films that came out of our culture, like whether anybody had taken down Black Panther. And then last but not least, I'm actually thinking that there's some films that weren't that great in terms of the way that they were rated, but they weren't actually that bad of films. I've been watching a lot of films lately, and of course I've got Bounce TV and some of the others, networks, Netflix and things. I actually, and it's not because she's an attractive woman, but I actually think Made in Manhattan was not that bad of a movie. I mean, it had some stereotypes, but it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that good either.
With Jay Lopez and everything. And I would even argue Brick Mansion, which has got the guy that discovered that martial arts form, wasn't that bad of a movie either. So there's some movies that were not that bad that are actually pretty decent that didn't get any kind of ratings and everything.
All right.
So
let's
I was just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Here we go. Here's your answer. John Fugelsang took down arguably the most famous film of American history, and that is Gone with the Wind. What an overrated piece of crap that was.
Overrated.
Yeah. Very beautifully shot. Don't get me wrong. Very beautifully shot, especially for 1939. But that film drags. I don't mind long films at all. JFK is one of my favorites. That's over 3 hours. But this film drags. And Scarlett O'Hara also a horrible, horrible person. I don't know how people rally around her.
Have you noticed he just hates movies with horrible women in them?
I just hate horrible films.
Movies with
Tara.
Yeah. And
that
whole
nothing about both the No Babies.
Riding horses. Everyone in that film who gets on a horse dies. Not a good idea to get on a horse. How do you feel bad for those people? I don't. All the suitors who are trying to marry her are a bunch of dorks. Not a fan of this film at all.
Frankly, Kevin, I don't give up.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this film at all. But
so basically, you're saying that some of these movies have the same idea as most African American characters in the horror films. As soon as I saw a brother in Jaws, I knew he was gone. Same with Star Trek and Star Wars and the rest of them.
I like how you're quoting Jaws 3 in a movie discussion. Jaws 3 should never be quoted in a film discussion at all. But the other two Jaws films, no black guys die. So there goes your argument.
Yeah, but space movies were the same way for the longest time. You know,
yes, they were.
We know who goes first.
You can see Mark, the casting director. Okay, there's the black guy. Make sure he gets eaten by the shark. Send him over.
But you had to love Get Out of that film, Mark.
Send him over there.
They changed that demographics, and Will Smith never dies. Right.
Oh, no, he doesn't.
Will Smith is my hero.
He's not going to die. He's too heavy. Makes too much in the box office, so they can keep him around.
Did you guys see Gemini Man? That didn't make anything at the box office. So
Did Will Smith die?
And nobody really liked him.
I don't know. I won't see that film. I heard it's terrible.
Nobody seemed to like 7.5 pounds because it was very, very sad. But I still thought he was amazing. Amazing.
I didn't see that one.
Nobody did. I went to see it, but nobody went to go see it.
Yeah, you were supposed to be in that theater because it was a bad film.
It was sad.
Kevin, do you ever review non-Hollywood blockbusters? In other words, the ones that are good
Hollywood
don't make it.
Hollywood, no. Well, again, the guest picks the film. Only thing is the guest has to pick the film, but again, it has to meet one of those 3 criteria. Again, anyone can dunk on Batman versus Superman because that stinks. It's got to be something, again, that's got to be a critically acclaimed hit, box office success, or widely beloved. So the guest picks a film. We don't sit there and say, hey, you have to go do, Big Lebowski. That's kind of an independent film, but that film is also bad. But also, again, a lot of these people pick films that we love. One guy tried to come in and take down Pulp Fiction. He lost badly. Another guy tried taking down the original Star Wars and got destroyed. So, and someone's coming in next week to talk about The Usual Suspects, which is another one of my
The Usual Suspects.
I love that film. I love that film. And this guy is going to run to a buzzsaw a mile wide. I promise you with that.
Right. Yeah.
Has anybody tried to take down Avatar? I know I'm dating myself.
Yes, that was our second most recent film. Avatar, and our current one we've done is that's currently we just released was Taxi Driver, and then next week is Joker. Avatar. Listen, it is a beautiful, amazing, technological, advanced film that's 11 years old, but it still looks like something that could pop out right now in 2020. Yeah. But the plot is just so bleh. It's just Dances with Wolves, Fern Gully with blue people, and that's it. It's not good. But the ride in Universal is sick.
Mm-hmm. What about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I thought it was a piece of trash.
Nope.
That was the worst movie. That was a piece of trash. Let's get real here, Kevin. Here's what happened.
You realize it's not about
let me tell you. All it is for QT worshippers. They go, oh, Quentin did it.
No, not all of his films are good. I'm the first to tell you.
That was the first movie. I wanted my money back. I went to the box office. I said, look, I gave you $7 for this piece of trash.
$7? Where are you seeing movies at?
I'm in North Carolina.
Here.
Okay? And I said, wait. I said, this ain't worth $7. You should pay me $7 to go watch that piece of trash.
The last act alone definitely was worth that film. The last act alone definitely worth it. Without question.
The rest of it, what you do is you take the toilet paper that you can't buy at Costco, you wrap the film in it, and you flush it right down the bloody toilet. Because that's where that movie goes. I do not have a strong opinion about that at all.
Just a lot of people have wrong opinions you do, Nick.
Right. It's not a wrong opinion. It's QT's trash. When he goes to his grave, he's going to regret that he ever filmed that movie.
I bet you Brad Pitt doesn't regret that winning Best Supporting Actor. That's for sure.
That shows you how bad the Academy is. The Academy is out of their bloody brain.
Yeah, quick
to
question for
actually
you.
get Brad Pittless. Brad
That was
Pitt.
he was an excellent badass character. I walked out that year saying he was going to win Best Supporting Actor, and I
he had
on it. I was
one
right.
part where he looked like he
This
was.
is better than the
bad.
movie.
The rest of it,
right
yeah,
now.
the
one part.
The last act alone, where they whipped all their asses, is worth it.
The guy was a waste. The guy was a complete waste.
Nicholas,
Nicholas,
I just got
like a macho guy.
I got a quick question for you. I got a quick question for Kevin. Has anybody tried to take on the Netflix films? I'm thinking about like the Phyllis Schlafly one, which I watched. That mini, well, that's more of a mini series, I guess, or the Madam C.J. Walker kind of films.
It can't be it could be a Netflix film, but it better be. I mean, I don't know any Netflix films that get that widely beloved where people are talking about them. So no, Again, what makes this show is just what we saw when Nick was wrong with his opinion about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The bigger the cow, the better the episode. Anyone who's going to care if someone takes on a Netflix episode? But when someone goes after Usual Suspects or Pulp Fiction, the balls come out. No one's going to care about a Netflix one like that.
What was even the plot on Once Upon a Time?
Kevin, we've had some amazing films that have been award-winning that are right here from North Carolina. So I want to know whether any of your people have tried to take down, and I think it can be taken down, Bull Durham, Kiss the Girls, or any of these other films that are right here in North Carolina. They were shot
Bull
here.
Durham is overrated. One of the most overrated sports films of all time.
Did you hear that, Mark?
Yeah, it's overrated.
Baby.
Overrated.
Overrated. You need to get on there.
Was the Nicholas Sparks movie filmed here that everybody comes to see the small town, that Nicholas Sparks movie?
That is a non-issue on my radar. Listen, I know they've done well.
That was not that great of a movie. I know the movie you're talking about. I can't think of the name of it.
I'm not a romantic comedy guy, so that's not going to go on my radar. So that's fine if people like that.
You can never put down Bull Durham. I mean,
I did. I can do it all day.
Put down Bull Durham.
Let me tell you why. So I get to meet people all over the world, right? I get to meet people all over the world. I am so lucky and blessed with what I am doing with Nick. And anytime I tell them I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina, they go, Bull Durham.
Yep.
That movie.
That's great. That's great. Just because you have an affiliation to their hometown doesn't mean squat. The movie IQ is shot in Princeton, where I'm from. Do I go run around and going, yay, IQ, or yay, A Beautiful Mind was shot here too? Yay. No, I don't.
But the thing is, I don't have to do that.
A Beautiful Mind was good, but I'm not going to go have a hometown attachment because the film was shot there.
I don't have to do that, though. That's what's weird. They go, oh,
that's a knee-jerk reaction people have, but they're not saying, oh, it was a great. Some people listen. Some people like it. I get it. I find that film insanely overrated. I will gladly take Major League, Field of Dreams over those.
Oh, Field of Dreams, I agree.
I'll take Field of Dreams over Bull Durham. I'm not taking Major League.
Major League is one of, it still holds up 30 years later or 31 years later. It's still hilarious. So I just don't like Bull Durham.
Build it, they will come. I've used that in many of my pitches in high tech. If you build it, we will sell it. If you build it,
it's a complete lie. Why would you do that? It's a complete lie. Build it, they will come. You build it, they ain't coming. Okay,
they are.
Not anymore.
They were playing ball games in Iowa. The Yankees are playing in Iowa. So they did build it, and they came. So you, sir, incorrect.
I got a question.
Build your bloody stadium in Iowa.
I got a question.
There are no stadiums in Iowa worth going to. And if you build a
Iowa, is not worth going to.
You made a big financial mistake. Where's Lynn? Let's get our financial guys out there, and we'll talk to them and our venture capitalists about
building
the big question in Iowa. It is a complete.
What's the question?
It is a complete mistake. You're going to lose your tail. And everybody knows it. And so it's a complete fiction. Field of Dreams is a waste of time. You should throw it in the trash can and go get some reality.
Boy, who pissed in your field today?
Some reality.
Nicholas, two things. Nicholas, two things. One thing, I agree with you that if you build it, they will come. Isn't true. And I can give you a North Carolina example, and you'll relate to this, Kimberly. We built a art center in the middle of nowhere that nobody's come to. That being the center in Crap,
all the time.
Nobody's come to. It's sitting there empty. That's being used as like a gambling hall. I think right now, the last I heard was it was being used there.
They also
and also they built like a whole technological center in the middle of nowhere in the Rocky Mountain area that nobody's using.
Let me ask Kevin a question.
Kim had a question, so I'm gonna turn it over.
I'm gonna go first, though, Nick. I want to know one thing. Why is it that movies about baseball just rock and just make it everywhere?
Most
But
of
they
them.
don't really do that about NFL. There's just few, but it's always the baseball ones that just people just go to.
No, they
They
don't.
do, they
What
do.
are you,
Longest
what are you
yard,
guys
people
smoking?
love longest
I mean,
yard. North Dallas.
Sandra Bullock was in one.
Come on, the Indian
Rudy.
community. And Kit comes back.
Rudy.
And Kit, get over here. Get over here. Come on,
There were
come
a
on.
couple of great football
You
films.
Americans are
I
really.
think it's few, but they're
I
more
love Any Given
baseball.
Sunday. Any Given Sunday underrated, though, I think. People hate it, but I love it good.
He's got 1.3 billion people over there. Ankit, do you follow American baseball over in India? Excuse me? Is that a
But
no?
y'all follow, but you follow cricket, don't you? You follow
Americans
cricket.
think baseball is big. It's not big.
Cricket.
It's huge.
Cricket. They follow
It's
cricket.
only huge in America, Kevin. Outside America, no one gives a rat's
That's
rear
not
about
true at all.
World
Japan,
Series.
China,
Okay,
Taiwan,
American, Japan,
Dominican Republic. How about the Caribbean?
but in
Nick?
India, they don't give a
40%
rat's
of baseball is
They don't
Dominican
give a rat's
Republic.
rear.
All those Caribbean nations, baseball is huge there.
See the Europeans,
on that one.
American baseball.
Not even close.
No.
Japan is a huge
No.
baseball stadium. It's baseball.
No,
place.
there's no
But
baseball. No
that is
baseball
wrong.
stadiums in
You are
India.
wrong. You need to do your
No,
homework.
Better than the
you're
movie
1.3
themselves. I love it.
1.3 billion people. 1.3
Okay.
billion people don't know
Is
jack
that-
about your baseball.
Which of the
Where and how did cricket develop, by the way? How did cricket develop? From baseball. Thank you. Okay, next.
Excuse me.
No,
And
that's not
actually,
true.
you need to take the
Other way
floor.
around.
You take the floor and educate these Americans who only think everything happens in America.
Okay,
And
I
Great
have
baseball.
a basic question
I
for
told you.
Kevin.
Love it.
Kevin,
Love it.
which event around the world have the most number of viewership? Do you know the event name?
I'm not hearing you, man. Sorry.
Oh, the sport.
The event with the most viewership around the world. I'm talking about a sports event because none of them of Hollywood or Bollywood can make it. But any event with the sport with the most viewership, do you know about it?
Yes.
Soccer?
Soccer,
Soccer.
unfortunately, because it's the
Soccer.
cheapest to play.
Soccer.
It's the cheapest to play. That's why.
No.
Yes.
So if you check out the facts, cricket consistently have more viewership than all other sports. You can check
Yeah.
out.
Has more viewers than
Yeah,
baseball.
baby.
I want to see
Cricket.
this.
Let me ask Kevin a question. Mr. Baseball man, Mr. Kevin, do
And
you know
also, I'll tell
anything?
you,
Mr. Kevin,
fortunately or unfortunately,
you know anything
America
about the
wants
rules
to come
of cricket?
outside America,
It's the same.
and they don't know what
baseball.
there is a
Put
big
on my
war
ass.
about
Yeah,
America.
Kevin, you know what the rules of cricket are? Be
Yeah.
honest.
The rules are the game goes on for 18 hours. That's what the rules are.
Oh, do you know anything about any of the rules in cricket?
No,
Be
I know.
honest. Admit it. You know
$100
nothing
bill,
about
all right.
cricket. You know nothing about
I don't either. Don't feel bad. I don't
cricket. I
either.
don't either.
No one
And
cares
so-
about cricket in America. That's fine. I mean, that's the way it is.
Yeah. Well.
We have-
Actually,
But there's a big world. There's a big world apart from America where people
Oh, I know.
live. And
I know it's huge. I know it's huge. But baseball's been around the
It's not just
longest.
about America.
Baseball.
Not just about America.
cricket's big.
We're talking baseball here. Baseball. I'm saying what from Nick's point. Baseball is still very, very huge. You just
In
cannot
America.
America, Japan,
Hey, Kevin,
China,
what's your
Central
favorite
America,
Canada,
Caribbean. Huge.
basketball movie?
And the Caribbean. Okay.
What's
What's your favorite basketball movie,
Yeah,
Kevin?
Republic, Puerto Rico, all those countries down
In
there.
America,
Huge.
there are more than
Curacao.
10,000
Started
teams.
about movies. Now we're talking about baseball.
All
In
that.
America, there are more than 10,000
I'm trying to get back to
teams
sports.
across America. In New York, you have 100
Reel
teams.
it back.
In New York alone, you have more than 100 teams.
I'm having a hard time hearing him.
So yeah,
What do you think
can
we
you
go?
get your mic up to you, Kit?
Yeah. Yeah, we're just formulating the argument that we well know that American baseball is ignored in Europe and ignored in India and most parts of the world. It has a little following in
American
Japan
football
and
too.
America
Well,
and a
it hasn't
couple of
gotten
other
there.
countries. And other than that, no one knows who it is and no one really cares about
Because
that.
a lot of other
World
countries can't
Series.
afford the equipment that baseball and football don't sport. And hockey have.
Oh,
It's an expensive sport to
did you
play.
hear that? Oh, they can't
It's an
afford the
Are you going to
equipment.
tell me that it's not,
that.
it is
You're
not?
telling me
Have you played? Have any of you guys have all played sports? How expensive is it to play that versus to play cricket? You need sticks. You need and the helmet. There's a lot more
No
involved in
shit.
that. Football is insane. Ice hockey is the most expensive sport there is. Period. You can't say that's not the case.
Yeah, but American football.
Well, that's because the
and
tennis
NFL
builders
don't
don't keep your ice hockey.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, see, hockey is the most expensive sport there is. My brother played hockey. I know what it costs, but I watched my parents write those checks. That is not
It's a
cheap.
Canadian game. If you're from Canada, it's a religion. Okay, well, that's
So doesn't mean it's not the most expensive. Don't discount it because it's
Well,
Canadian.
You get hit in the face with hockey sticks.
What about Europe? What about European? Look at the European side.
Hockey is
over Europe and Russia too. It's huge.
In Florida, it was not a big sport in Florida and the Caribbean.
Because it's 85 degrees every day outside. Why would you be inside?
Why would you do it? So it's for northern countries. It's not for the rest of the world.
Didn't Tampa Bay win a Stanley Cup not too long ago down there?
Tampa Bay's pretty good, right? That's where I'm from. Okay, so
but they also lost in 4 games.
The Raleigh-Durham did pretty well too.
Yeah, that's true.
Not a while.
The Hurricanes did well.
Probably has too. But the thing
North Carolina, you guys don't have any good sports teams down there. You said before about
we have Tom Brady.
There's been a lot of social distancing between you guys and a Super Bowl trophy down in Carolina, huh?
Hey, hold on. I'm going to show you Super Bowl. I held the trophy this year. I got to hold the trophy.
You know who didn't hold the trophy? Cam Newton or Jake Delhomme.
I know, but I did. I held the Lombardi trophy.
You didn't throw a pass in the NFL, though, Kim.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, I'm not going to talk because I grew up from North Carolina. My favorite team went to the Super Bowl 4 times and lost every time.
Which team?
Buffalo Bills. I'm a New York Giants I'm a New York Football Giants fan.
No, think Midwest. I went to school in Milwaukee, but I was a fan of this team way back in the day.
O.J. Simpson, is that why?
Fran Tarkenton.
The Vikings. Okay. Bills also 0-4 in the Super Bowl.
Every week I'm on Walter Football. I wear the Fran Tarkenton jersey. I'm his fan.
There you go.
Vikings don't have a Super Bowl championship either. That's another.
No, they just.
That's the excuses you hear when you don't have anything.
But I ain't gonna say I wear the jersey because it's purple. I wear it because I like Fran.
Fran was great. Fran's a Hall of Famer. Who's arguing that? Nobody. My God.
Yeah. Peyton Manning is my other favorite, and I would wear whatever.
His little brother has earned more Super Bowls than Peyton. Peyton, that last one, the defense gave it to him, but his little brother Eli, now that boy went out there and beat the New England Patriots not once.
And no one outside of the United States or Canada given a rat's rear about the NFL. That's
not true at all.
They tried to bring it to Europe. They tried to bring it to Europe.
Why the games in London? They're not outside of the USA.
Yeah, it's always blah, and they send it back.
They're having the games in London. They're having 4 games a year there. That means that people care and they're going to the games.
NFL Europe folded. I mean, come on.
NFL Europe. So the NFL has 4 regular season games.
That's because they're trying to get the Europeans, but the Chinese don't give a rat's rear. The Indians could care less. And the rest of the world doesn't care about the NFL.
To get other countries, and who cares about that? If they want to get into it, great. It's not going to. You
do have to care about the other countries, Kevin, because the GDP of the United States is only 15.8%. 85% of the gross domestic product. Where's that dollar bill? Show me, Ankit. Is outside of the United States.
Great. We have the sports. That's great. If the other company tries to jump on, that's great. We make sports for us to play and enjoy. If they want to jump on, great. If they don't, it's fine. It's no one cares about that. Sports are the competition for the people who want to watch and play. That's it. If other countries would jump on, great. But we're not out there to go out and
Kevin.
We're not out there to convert them. That's the reason they go to.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
They go to London because they're trying to convert the Europeans.
Right now, we can't watch any current sports.
That's what I was going to say, Kevin. There's no current sports.
Right. So unless you want to do fantasy football, which I'm on Walter Football once a week. Actually, I don't start back up until August.
Kimberly, who's the number 1 pick in fantasy football this year right now? I do a show called Fantasy Football Jibber Jabber as well. We do NFL gambling and fantasy football advice. Who is your number 1 pick right now?
Who do you pick? Tell me who your pick is.
I asked you first. Let me hear what you got to say.
I did. So,
Tom Brady.
You're being silly.
Lost his.
No, I'm not going with Tom Brady, and I do fantasy too.
You're not going to go. You're not going to go. No one. None of you guys are taking first of all, Tom Brady in any round except round 7 or later. Number 1.
Yeah,
you're not taking a quarterback one overall. You're not. No one is.
Oh, watch! You have a breakout.
There are 2 answers here that are more than acceptable. But Kim, I'm going to hear your.
I actually haven't been doing my homework, so I can't honestly play.
The answers are either Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey, number 1.
Christian is the top on Walter.
No, I can see
one
Christian.
of them. Saquon Barkley is the other one.
Which one of the rookies are you taking, Kevin?
I like the kid from Kansas City who just got selected in the draft first by the Chiefs last week. That kid, first of all, that's a very run-heavy offense in Kansas City. They're going to put up points. They're going to cut Damian. They did cut Damian Williams, who stinks. I really like the kid they took out of, again, from Kansas City. I forgot his name. It's hyphenated. But he is the rookie, one of the biggest rookies. That's going to be one of the guys to watch, as well as the wide receiver from LSU, Jefferson, who was selected by, oh my God, I forgot, but I know the Eagles passed on, which is hilarious because I hate the Eagles. But I like that kid Jefferson. But I love the running back as my best rookie pick for Kansas City, especially in that offense. He's going to thrive.
What about Nick Foles? Do you think anybody should pick him?
Nick Foles? Nope. They shouldn't even pick him up even on a lost bet. He's not going to be amounting to much.
I picked the Gronk. He's back. It's like the whole
only in the 7th round or later. I would not touch Gronk.
Yeah,
He's an injury concern.
There's a big resurgence in Tampa Bay where the Super Bowl is going to be held with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I will share.
But you know what's going to be Super Bowl? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know why? Because the Kansas City Chiefs are going to repeat. Write it down now.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs are repeating without question.
They had one good year.
They had the young quarterback who does he was down 17 points and came back. 10 points, excuse me. 10 points in half a quarter and came back. They're going to win again.
Next time he's
the NFL, my
17 points, and then by the end he'll be down.
Mahomes is up there because he's the young Tom Brady now, right?
No, he's fat. You know, he's better than Tom Brady. Tom Brady couldn't run like Mahomes can.
No, Mahomes has got he's got the talent. He's got the youth, and he's just going to rock it for the next few years. So, you know, I
10 years easily.
Let's get Brady on.
Football players get beat up really bad. You have no idea. Like,
I do have an idea. I know. I've been playing fantasy football for 20 years and betting on the NFL for a long time. I know what happens to these guys. Not that
they get abused. And I'm going to share a secret with you about why I'm on the TV show. It had nothing to do with my skills or assets of understanding the game. I actually thought fantasy football, I kid you not, this was before last year. I thought it was something you guys made up, and you were actually over there watching Victoria's Secrets or something. I had no idea what it was.
Well, we do that, but we also draft teams too.
Right. And I didn't know anything. I gave up on football years ago because I just thought it was a horrible abuse of an exploitation of these players. And I know a few, you know, that have been through a lot, but they still love the game. So, you know, good, you know, have at it. I got into it because Walter wanted to come to Pod TV. I offered to be the technical support. I was told to not say a word, but he went down. And I'm also a host. I know that dead air is bad. So I listened real good. I dove in. I kept the show going until he got back on. And I just said the right things, I guess. And next thing I know, I'm on Walter Football. And so he took me on to teach me how to play fantasy football on the show, and how to just pick the right players, how to gamble pretty much and stuff like that. So it's been a good experience for me, for women who didn't know how to play. They're watching. And so that's how I got on. I got on by default, that I just didn't allow dead air, and I listened well. I listened.
Well, surprisingly, I'm going to tell you that the fantasy football league that I'm part of,
again, I'd love to come back.
Actually was women that actually did quite well on it. They did actually quite well. Now, some of them even admitted to me that they did kind of pick their teams in unusual ways. It might have been the color of the uniform. It might have been the
numbers,
athleticism, or the attractiveness of certain players.
Invite me in all of your money leagues. Let me just say, for money, invite me in all of your leagues that do this. I would love to be a part of that. And while you guys draft on color or uniform or who's your cuter quarterback, I would love to be part of these leagues, and I will probably win.
Wow. Sure, yeah, you will. And I'm a numbers person, and I'm real careful. I research everything Walter says. I research, and so during that time frame, that from August to February, and then we go to the Super Bowl. Did you go to the Super? Do you go to the Super?
Did you go to the Super Bowl this year, Kevin?
No, I did not go to the Super Bowl. I'm not going unless my team is in it, but I should have went. I had a chance to go for 7,000.
You should go.
It was the Denver-Seattle Super Bowl a few years ago. It was right here in Giant Stadium, but I decided to go to St. Kitts instead and get out. You know, again, I'm a Giants fan. I don't care about Denver and Seattle except who to bet. I wish I went to the Giants ones in against the silly Patriots where we embarrassed them twice.
No, but I think you should try to go to. I don't go to the Super Bowl itself. I go to the events, right?
Yeah, that's what I do.
So, and I'm there more for business events. But this year I went.
We get our little media pass.
Football, and it's fun. But you get to meet some interesting people. But the
you got a spare ticket, Kim? I'm definitely coming with you. Then how about that?
It's in Tampa, my hometown.
I have
I have family.
We'll have a big fantasy football party.
I'm in.
We'll do it.
Oh, good. We'll have a football party in Tampa this year. That sounds good.
Well, we'll do the fantasy football party. Yeah.
Assuming there's going to be a season this year.
Well, that's what
I think there will be. I think there will be. They're getting ready to do baseball. They're getting ready to do baseball.
Yeah, they're going to do baseball.
Baseball is going to be the Grapefruit League version.
Here's going to be the new theme: no fans in the stands.
Baseball is going to be the Grapefruit League. Hey, Kevin, you think we're going to get basketball in?
I hope so. I hope they get NHL playoffs and NBA playoffs, and I think they're going to do a very abbreviated schedule of it. But I think they're going to do it in a remote location. Is the rumor? If they're talking about getting baseball in now, rest assured, football I think is going to start without a problem. Now they may do half capacity crowds for football because everything may not be shaken out by then. Maybe baseball plays empty stadiums. Maybe the NBA and NHL playoffs do as well. But I definitely think baseball is going to go up, and I definitely think football is going to happen. But again, are they going to play at full capacity? That's the question.
No fans in the stands.
We're going to have to change the way we go. Like maybe you're going to have to wear masks or have COVID testing before you enter the stands.
Fine.
You know, like they scan you for fever, they test you for COVID. I think that because we're doing those rapid test kits now, and that's what we're putting them out there for. Is they're down to 10 minutes right now. So
that's fast. Really fast.
Yeah, and we're generating them and putting them out just to help people re-enter work. So I think in the future for traveling on airplanes, for entering into big stadium events, there's going to have to be some kind of policy or procedure. But here's Nick.
Where's the game? Where's the game?
I can tell you right now that I do events and some event planning around here in the Durham area, and I've got friends that are even more extensively involved than I am. And they pretty much canned the concert season. They pretty much told us 2020, it's a wrap. You're not going to see any major concert.
I hope not.
Any major things.
I'm going to go see Guns N' Roses at Giant Stadium.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
What did you say, Kevin?
And then there was, some of my favorites that were going to be coming in, and they've all been canceled. It's so disappointing. And this is twice they've canceled some of my favorites. The other one was canceled years ago. Because of the potty law that Governor, what's his name did, McCrappy, McCroy. McCroy put in that.
Oh, the trans bathroom things. Way to go on that one. Oof, swinging a miss.
Everybody canceled all of our concerts here, and I already was lined up to go to these concerts. I was so excited because it's rare that we get some of the big hitters, and so they were all lined up and they all canceled then. Now they're all canceled this year. So I'm just like, well, maybe I'm not meant to go to these concerts.
It's destiny.
It's just, I'll just stay at home and enjoy the music on our cafe. We have a music cafe on Sundays. So, bring your favorite drink to sip. It's like outdoor, it's from South Africa. We do live music.
Wait, you got to explain to Kevin that South Africa is another country that has 57 million people. It's bigger than New Jersey and California.
He's making that number up.
Fine,
he's not making that number up.
Not making the number up. Go Google it. You'll see.
South Africa is not a country. It's a continent. South Africa is a continent.
Africa. Let's ignore Africa. Africa only has 1.2 billion people. 1.2 billion people.
Are you on the Chamber of Commerce for Africa or South Africa?
I am, baby.
We're very much cheering them for no apparent reason, right, guys?
Viewers are in Africa. What am I supposed to tell you?
Well, we have a lot of fans in our
and when we talk about American baseball, they don't know what you're talking about, or American football. I mean, that's the reality, dude. And they have 1.2 billion people compared to your 3.
We're focused on our own sports. If they want to watch, great, more the merrier.
No one
cares.
Listen to this.
They make billions of dollars.
Arrogance of America.
We're global network. IBM TV.
Hey, Nicholas. Would you argue that basketball is probably our most global sport, though? Because that's what I think is our most global sport.
Dennis Rodman. Everybody loves Dennis Rodman. I don't care where we go.
Dennis Rodman. What is this, 1999 all over again?
In China, basketball is the biggest export that we have.
It is the biggest exported sport in the world.
It is basketball.
It's a shame because they're kowtowing to China now, which is sad. So that's what happens when you go international. You have to kowtow to the other countries who have money, whereas before, you know what? China's don't like what we have to say too bad. Now LeBron James is a puppet for China, which sucks.
Yeah. Which we're going to have to get used to saying this. A puppet for China that has the world's largest economy.
They're just going to get greedier with that money. No one cares about that. We're watching the sports. The average fan doesn't care about the GDP of other countries who watch the sports. The fan cares about the team they're watching, not that nonsense.
The fans do, but see, the guys who are the owners.
I like Ankit having a beer right now. I wish I had one too right now.
Oh no, he's water.
Here's what the
Water.
owners care about.
That's water.
They care about the owners, baby. That's what they care about. You know, the fans are pawns in the game. The owners care
who
about
pays who pays the owner's salaries? Who drives that revenue?
Oh, you mean who are the marks
The
in the
fans.
Are you asking who are the marks in the poker game?
You mean the same guy who goes to Tampa Bay games? That guy?
Listen, who's the mark in the poker game? The guy that pays everybody's salary. It's
I'm starting to show with these two. We don't need anything else.
That's it. You know,
Nick thinks he knows sports, but he doesn't. But he'd rather talk about a Connie show.
He knows money. He knows.
There you go. I just said that. He doesn't know sports, though. That's the point.
Oh, he does. He knows data. I'm going to tell you what.
Yep.
If you want to
Comedy,
bet,
sure, but not sports.
he knows data better than anybody I know. He can crunch data better than anybody.
Sure.
Knows. You
No
want
one's
to
arguing
bet
that.
on anyone you
I
call Nick?
run an actuarial firm. What
Nick.
am I supposed to tell you? We crunch numbers. We don't care about who's.
That's all he does.
That's all
He
I-
shares numbers like this.
You know, I mean, we crunch
is
numbers.
amazing.
We use AI. Alexa, what's the biggest sport in the world?
Here's what I found on Netflix.com.
I can't hear her.
2014, soccer remains the world's most.
I told you it was soccer. Thank you
Soccer.
very
That's what I
much.
said too.
Thank you.
Million
Soccer.
I told you it was soccer.
countries around
I want you to ask Alexa what her favorite movie is.
the globe.
Have you done this, Kevin?
Okay,
No, no.
Alexa.
Ask Alexa what her
You're
favorite movie
smart.
is.
These things are smarter than humans. Alexa, what's your favorite movie?
The Empire Strikes Back is
Yeah, excellent choice. Excellent choice. See?
So here's what's sad. Again, I love the characters in
Thank
the
you,
movie
Alexa.
Empire Strikes Back, but I fell asleep
Wyatt.
3 times
See,
watching
there
it.
you go. See, you're not a good barometer, Kim. I'm sorry. That film is
It
damn
was
near
the greatest
flawless.
movie of all times. I will admit it.
One of. I like Star Wars better, but Empire is still fantastic. No one's going to argue that.
Alexa
No,
said-
Empire was great, but I
If
still
it was so great, why'd you fall asleep in it then?
because I work all the
Yoink.
time, and it's the only dark place I go into, and immediately I just. And if it's
Turn
not,
the lights on. Jeez.
Oh, I did that with who?
it's got to captivate me. It's got to. It's got
Guys,
to.
it's one of the greatest stories. It
It is a good story, but I fell asleep 3 or 4 times trying
Maybe
to
you're
watch.
narcoleptic, Kim. Maybe that's it.
No, I'm just. I work all the time like Ankit. I'm up 24/7. When I get into a dark place, I go to sleep. Unless it captivates, it's got to captivate me.
Maybe
It's gotta
shotgun
be good.
coffees or a line of cocaine. I don't know which one, but that way it'll help keep you awake.
It's
Coca-Cola.
It's
Coca-Cola.
gonna be a good movie, not something like Once Upon a Time in Bollywood.
I would do it good.
I had the line in it earlier, so
Oh wait, Kevin, you're a movie expert, right? Okay,
I mean,
we'll certify you in court as a movie expert. Now I'm going to ask him a question. Okay, do you know who Shadow Khan is?
yeah, he just died.
Shadow Khan just died.
Yeah, he just died.
No, he
No,
didn't.
not Shadow Khan. That
Shadow-
was
Okay,
Khan
yeah.
Khan, not Shah Rukh Khan.
That's
Shadow
it.
Khan.
That's
Shadow
some of the
Khan
I saw
is-
died recently.
another famous.
The guy from the Life of Pi, he just died yesterday.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
Nick is asking about Shah Rukh Khan, the highest or maybe the wealthiest actor in the world.
Yeah.
Do you know-
Hey,
Shadow
Kevin,
Khan.
I've got an idea for
You
you.
don't know who
Have you ever
Shadow
thought about
Khan,
doing
is that Shadow
blockbusters
Stephen's
from
brother?
India?
Or
Because there's a
Genghis
whole
Khan's
blockbuster
brother.
market out of India.
What's that?
He did.
I said, have you ever thought about doing with your show blockbusters from like India? Because there's a whole
Yeah,
blockbuster
Hollywood.
market out of
Oh,
India.
listen, I know Bollywood's
That whole Bollywood industry is fascinating.
Out, but yeah, it's just no one's decided to do a film yet on that. So
They don't do any films in Bollywood, do they, Ankit? 1.3 billion people, and they don't do films there. That
is
America.
Nicholas now the Chamber of Commerce fan for India? Jesus, is there a country you don't like besides America?
Who
Well,
said
right now he's a little angry at America like I am because we're ahead in COVID.
We have,
We're ahead
apart
in
from
COVID.
1.3 billion, we have 3 million people around the world.
I
Apart
didn't hear you say,
1.3
Ankit.
billion in India.
I just heard you say number one around the world.
What did you say, Ankit?
I said apart from 1.3 billion, we are 300 million people around the world.
No, I know.
So
No one's
they're
using that fact. This is not. You're trying to shoehorn a rah-rah Indian there, Nicholas. There's no need to. We know that there are a lot of Indians, and we know they love movies, and we know about Bollywood, so we can move on past that. Thank you.
You've never reviewed one Bollywood movie.
Because
Admit
our guests haven't picked one. Why would that? It's something
Oh,
that's on the radar.
Your guests only come from America, Mr. Kevin. Is that true?
How about Kevin? Have you watched Slumdog Millionaire?
Slumdog.
Love Slumdog Millionaire. It's an excellent film.
Yeah, see that
Love
was
it. Danny Boyle, great director.
We were, and actually, that actor just passed away. That's the actor that just passed away.
How
The guy
about,
for the game show host.
how about Mississippi Mazzala? That's another great one.
Yeah.
Never saw that one.
Are you kidding me?
And there was a movie
So what
with.
we need to do is we need to go and do his podcast and do some reviews of some interesting movies.
No, no. Remember, the format is this. You got to pick a film that people love and then convince us why that film is overrated or stinks. That's the format of the podcast.
Nick's good at that. Nick is very good at that.
And I'm going to bring up
This
that
era that we live in right now.
Wait.
I'm gonna come on your show and I'm gonna pick Reds.
What's that, Mark?
I said this era that we're in now. I think I'll come on your show and I'm gonna pick Reds.
Reds.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, I haven't seen Reds, so that'd be a first.
I like that. Reds is good.
All right.
What else is good?
We've already torn apart this Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right?
But
My family always watches Red October.
Do you watch any foreign movies? Do you watch any movies?
Horror movies?
Do you watch any foreign movies like Chinese movies, Indian movies, or maybe African?
Foreign?
Anything else
Foreign
apart
movie
from
market.
Do I watch? Yeah, Run Little Run is a German film I love. Again, Danny Boyle did a lot of foreign films. He's did Train Spotting, a fantastic film. He also did Trance, another great one. Those are a few that jump off the top. But the few documentaries that have been done as well. Euro Dreams of Sushi. If you ever saw that, it's amazing. Give that a look. It's about the best rated sushi chef in the world and his apprentice who tries to emulate the top quality sushi he makes, and it takes this guy years to finally get the approval of this master sushi chef. And the best documentaries are ones that take a subject that you could give two craps about and make them captivating. That's why this is amazing. Again, another one, Super Size Me, an American one.
Oh yeah,
Who cares about fast food? And the new one, Super Size Me 2, he gets into chicken farming. But you know what? I was hooked for an hour and 45 because it gets into what a bunch of scumbags the chicken industry is.
And that's actually, and Kim would probably say this as well as Nicholas, that's actually one of the things that we're missing because of the whole thing that's going on with COVID and everything. But we have one of the most amazing documentary film festivals here in the Raleigh-Durham area, but unfortunately it was canceled this year. That being Full Frame. Full Frame is just amazing. And filmmakers come from all over the world.
There's a film festival here in the Raleigh-Durham area. It's not as advertised as the Sundance Festival, but it is pretty phenomenal. So
cool. Yeah, independent films are great. A lot of them are great. Some are terrible, but a lot are great.
Well, there's a bunch of them. That's the thing, right? There are a lot of them. That's where they try to get their leg up. And
get funding, sure.
Yeah, you got to get started somewhere. This is what I tell people. Brad Pitt didn't just get started as a superstar. He worked his way up the ladder.
His first film, actually doing his first job was while he was in acting. One of his jobs was when he was in acting. He wore a chicken suit trying to get people to go to a fast food chicken store.
Okay, that's a good job.
I believe his first film was True Romance. Without even looking, I have to go look that up. But he was the stoner guy in True Romance. I believe. I have to go double check on that.
And I know a lot of people who, were trying to get their start in certain celebrity status ways, washing cars. So, I mean, they take whatever they can get. And, it's a tough industry, just like most industries. And you just have to.
And then once you make it like Quentin Tarantino, you can put a bunch of garbage out and people will watch it like Once Upon a Time in Bollywood. And that's the nature of the industry.
Fantastic. Nick, what's your favorite film? Watch this, guys. Let's have fun. Nick, give me your top 3 films right now. Go.
Top 3 films is number 1 is The Wizard of Oz. I thought it was pretty good, even though it didn't win the Oscar in 1939.
Yeah. All right. Easy answer. What else?
Gone with the Wind. Then
boring.
What do you mean boring?
Gone with the Wind is boring.
Oh, Gone with the Wind.
No, that's not your favorite.
Boring and distinctly racist.
Number 2 after that is Platoon. I thought Platoon was really good, actually.
Platoon, not Platoon. Who says Platoon?
Platoon. Yeah, Platoon. Okay, that one I thought was number 2. And number 3 is Forrest Gump. I thought Forrest Gump was great because the thing is, it actually demonstrated the advantage of
sentimental
the integrity of the
people. Just made for the
integrity of the people in the South.
That's the basic American.
The basic
that challenge here and there.
Highlighted the great places of the South.
Because of the soundtrack.
Yankees may not like it. Southerners love it.
We're going to do a show with these two.
Forrest Gump, baby. Go Forrest
Gump. That's a simpleton movie. Come on, Nick. Going out there. That's an international film. Films out there, Nick. Where are the international films, huh?
International films? Who watches
No.
those?
I don't see international films.
Those are Bollywood films. Nobody watches things here.
I want to ask Mark what his favorite movie is.
Sure.
What's your favorite three, Mark?
Well, I got to think about that because like I said, I've watched a number of movies, and I've actually got a lot of movies that are independents that I'm really big into. So some of these movies y'all might not have heard of, but there's a classic movie that actually deals with the Middle Passage called Sankofa. So that would be one of my top ones.
Really?
But it's a classic movie and everything.
Right.
Definitely, I'm actually a fan of Avatar, so I actually liked Avatar and the scenery of Avatar. So
see that? There you go. There you go. You just said the keywords. I'm a fan of the scenery, not because it's a good story. The scenery. There you go. Make my point for him.
Yep.
Well, with
there are
Avatar,
different elements of movies that I go for, and it's not always the plot line, but the plot line is part of what I look at. I look at the whole picture, Kevin. So that's why I would go for Avatar, because I like the technological and the scenery part of it. The storyline, I agree with you. It's not that great.
Right.
But Sankofa, I think you will find to be an amazing film and things of that nature. And then I'm actually going to go with another old classic and everything, and that would be Malcolm X.
Really?
Very good.
Wow.
Good film. Very good film.
That's a deep film. Yeah, that's a good one.
Wow.
See, so there's some good movies that we could go after and try to do it's like a game show to me what you're doing, Kevin.
Thank you. You just mentioned when Brad Pitt didn't make it when he was early. But here I am. I'll be making it, and I'll be on IBM TV and say, "Hey, this is where I was before I had all my shows picked up."
I was on IBM TV. You know, this is funny that you say that, because I'm basically an engineer for a very long time. And when I met Nick, the first words out of my mouth was, "You'll never see me on that side of the camera. I've owned my own companies. I hire my own PR. I'll do boardroom, courtroom, classroom, never public." And 4 months later, he convinces me to be on his show.
Yeah, but we were on the Money Master show, so you were doing
right. It was different.
CEO.
I love the concept. I love
CEOs of major companies, which are by the way, CEOs of major companies aren't a big hit, because the thing is, everybody wants those movies and sports. They run your numbers up if you want to run your numbers up. Music, movies, sports. CEOs of major companies, not a big hit, but a lot of financial guys love it. I mean, that's
this is what I tell people. If you want to know how they made it, just watch the show.
Sure.
I mean, that's what I liked about Money Masters was we let them tell their story.
But the thing is, what we wanted to do, Kevin, is we wanted to bring podcasters on, because that's a cult in and of itself that's really underserved. There aren't a lot of podcasting shows out there that I know of on major media.
I hate to tell you this, but Apple just announced last week. You know how many podcasts are out there on iTunes alone?
How many?
1 million podcasts.
Oh no, there's
podcasters. Excuse me, there are billions.
There's no question. No, you're totally right.
Oversaturated.
Remember, we were looking at the demographics of this, and they were growing at like 3,000 per day or 3,000 per week of new podcasters. But with that, as you know, it's like YouTube. They're going to get lost in the noise of thousands of podcasters out there. I don't know where they're going to go. I think that most of them are going to dissipate. In my industry, and my bet is 95 to 97% will be dead in 5 years. Dead not physically, but they're going to be off the air. Now, Mark's going to be on the air. And the reason why Mark's going to be on the air, how long have you been doing podcasting, Mark?
6 years.
There we go. He meets the guidelines. If you hit more than 5 years, almost in any industry, he's a lifer. Sorry to say that, Mark. You're in for life. Okay. Where Kevin, how long have you been in podcasting? For
this specific show, Gutting the Sacred Cow, by the way, you can find it on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spreaker, now YouTube, for if you want to see our smiling faces.
Sure.
You can go on YouTube and see myself and my co-host Kevin Israel and our guest on that.
Great.
But yeah, this particular podcast, 6 months. I've done other podcasts that haven't lasted near as long. I'm a stand-up comedian as well, but I've been doing that for 10 years. So that's going on. There are other shows I have going on too.
Wait. 10 years is a good demographic. If you've been a stand-up comedian for 10 years, seriously, are you serious?
Yeah, 10 years. I'm not full-time in the sense where I make my living solely on stand-up comedy. I still have a day job, but yeah, I've been in the game for 10 years now.
Day job? Okay, good. So you've been in the game for 10 years. Then the high probability you'll be in the game for a long, long time. In other words, because you've met the magic market. But here's the real problem with your podcasters out there. A lot of these people have been in for 3 months, 6 weeks. I'm just getting started. I mean, I listen to all this stuff. I said, dude, you're getting started means you're going to get bounced. You have no idea how hard it is to make it. Now, I mean, you know, if you're going to have a big following, you're going to be a big big cheese in this. So my belief is, mathematically and statistically, running actuarial firms, they'll all be out of business in about 5 years. They're not going to be around. And I would love to be able to track that and do a study on it, but I believe they're not going to be able to make it because it's a very saturated industry. Now, the reason we're doing podcasts, it's a cult group of people that work in the podcasting industry. Similar to, we run a chess show. People that don't do chess don't understand it. But there are 30 million people that are on chess.com right now as we're doing this show. And there's
you can burn 6,000 calories playing chess.
There's hundreds of thousands of people that are playing chess right now. And so we run a chess show because we know that that's a demographic that's underserved. It's not going to be on ESPN, CBS, ABC, NBC, or any major network. So what we're doing is we're saying, let's go to the demographics, which are underserved community, and bring these people on board. The other reason of podcasters should easily be able to translate to pod TV, where a lot of the people we interview, and
he's already doing it. He's doing it on YouTube. He said,
right. Yeah. But a lot of the ones that aren't podcasters, to translate onto pod TV is really difficult for them. You know, in other words, to be able to keep up a conversation, move along. So we actually have some method behind the madness. And here's the last demographic, Kevin, which I talked to you about. Let's say you have 148 hours a week in broadcast time, which even they go, well, what about 3 o'clock in the morning? Well, we have no problem with that, because Willie Hill, who's not on right now, which we know, is 3 o'clock in the morning in Australia. He's usually on our shows, but he has a hard time getting on late at night because it's 3 o'clock in the morning there. So you have basically 148 hours of broadcasting time. If you had every podcast with 10,000 people on it, you would have a viewership of 1.4 million people. I mean, it's just the name of the game. Where podcasters independently will all die in the world of independent films and independent everything that's out there. It's very unfortunate, but it's just
because you have to have a distribution name.
You have to have a distribution name, and you have to have a distribution.
You need to
have a plan of distribution.
Marketing consistent. So this is what I tell everyone: if you're going to make, what I learned from Walter, from our TV show, I learned this too.
Walter's
doing it. You have to be on time, same time every week. And or every day, whatever it is you're doing, so people go, okay, I know that they're going to be there. Then it's your content, right?
Walter Football has been doing podcasting for 20 years. But then if I ask Kevin, are you familiar with Walter Football? And your answer would be
no.
There you go. And Kevin purportedly, Your Honor, is a maven in sports. Okay, purportedly a maven in sports. You never heard of Walter Football, who's been doing podcasting for 20 years, is mentioned in Sports Illustrated, has viewership up to 1.6 million people. But 1.6 million is a drop in the bucket, because how many people do we have in India, Ankit? How many people?
1.6 million.
1.3 billion people. And see, that's the problem. Million is still not enough. You got to get it up to, multiple millions, where you do
the thing is your reach, right? And then you have to rely on your marketing and your distribution. And that's something Nick and I learned in the TV industry.
Well, every industry, the industry I work in, marketing distribution is the key. MD, baby. It's not medical doctor.
This way, when we were Money Masters PBS with that name, PBS, people opened the door, walked in, would do anything for you. When we were filming in the PBS studios, people would do anything for you just because of that name, PBS.
And we've had a lot of venture capital.
PBS was the same way. NBC, the same way.
Yeah, one of the first questions venture capital asks,
IBM TV.
What's your marketing and distribution plan? Okay, I'm willing to bet, Kevin, if you asked all the podcasters on all these crazy Facebook sites, what's your M&D plan? Marketing and distribution, and what's your USP, unique selling proposition? They would not have a clue.
No.
Am I right?
100%. It's interesting. Sorry, Kevin. It's interesting you bring that up, because there's actually a podcasting group. It's a international podcasting group, and lately what they've been doing is trying to do click and follow, and that's actually the complaint is what people are doing, because they're trying to say, you come onto my Instagram account, you come onto my Facebook account, I will do the same for you. A lot of it, to be perfectly honest, is lip service, because they will say that, and you put your information out there, and there's not an actual consistent people doing that on a regular basis. And it's not a real marketing strategy.
Not a marketing distribution.
But, as an event planner, I can even tell you that that's a plan that a lot of people have even for concerts. Because I can tell you that folks even here in the Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill area will tell me that they want to do a concert, they want to do a festival, they want to do whatever. And then you ask them, well, what are you going to do for marketing The first thing they do is they say, I'm going to send out those Facebook ads. I'm going to send it these tweets. I'm going to do these kind of like things without a concentrated marketing plan. And for the most part, those events fail.
I hear that, and I agree. That's a lazy ass proposition. Everyone needs numbers, and you need to have numbers. Are they organic fans? No, that's the problem. There are not organic fans. They're not going to like and share and retweet on your behalf because they truly appreciate your show. Again, it's just padding the numbers so that when you do go to other places for advertising, or to network, you have the stats to back it up. But of that, I don't know, let's just say 10,000 fans you show on social media, how many of them are organic? If you probably,
yeah. I mean, as Bill Gates would say, and I'll quote him, "That's the stupidest thing I ever heard." Follow. And I've seen it. I'm going, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. You have to have a true marketing and distribution plan, but without that, you're going nowhere. You have to have a unique selling proposition. VCs are not going to invest in anything that doesn't have a USP. We know that because we run startup. On Wednesday, we bring all these startups on, and the reason a lot of the startups fail and the failure rate is excess of 95%. I know, Mark, you're involved in that also. We'd love to have you on Wednesday so you can meet the startups. A lot of the reason, and some of them succeed, but a lot of the ones that are good, you can tell by the time they get on the show, these guys, they got it. But the thing is, most of them will fail. 95% will fail even if they're funded. They're going to fail. They don't have a marketing and distribution plan. They don't have a unique selling proposition. All they're looking is for venture capital. And frankly, all that is a big fat loan. And none of them have any track record of success. Now, the reason I know Kevin's going to be around for the next 10 years, he's been doing stand-up comedy for 10 years, for Christ's sakes. So guess what? That guy is, he's heavily invested in it. He's got so much money and time in that. We can't even calculate, right, Kevin? Admit it, right? Time and money in that, huh?
I'm just a stubborn son of a bitch. That's the problem.
There we go. You have a lot of time and money wrapped up in that.
So that's the secret to success is resilience, right?
He's got a big investment.
About that in
listen,
and I'm entertaining and funny. That also helps too, right?
Yeah, if he's done that stand-up trash where he's got in front of a bunch of people for 10 bloody years, soaking his brains out. I mean, he's got a big investment.
Let me tell you, the funniest
he can't let that go. He's got to sell out, baby. Sell.
The funniest people and people who tell are the ones who've been through the most challenges, right? The ones who have survived the most pain have the funniest stories. I mean, we've heard it on our TV interviews with some of the millionaires and billionaires. Their success was not overnight, and you're right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. If
you ever listen to you have to go to IBM TV, go to the Money Master series. You'll listen to a guy called Alan Trefler. Does anybody here know who Alan Trefler is? Kim, you can't answer it. Alan Trefler. Do you know? Mark, ever hear of Alan Trefler?
The name sounds vaguely familiar, but I can't place where I've heard it at.
Kevin, have you heard of Alan Trefler?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm going to brief you, sir. He actually,
my first interview.
I knew him he was one of our first interviews. He won the World Open Chess Championship years ago. That's where I knew of him. Then he created a company called Pegasystems. When we interviewed him, we said, Pegasystems, that's very interesting. How'd you do? He goes, for the first 11 months, I made no sales. He sat there with his software program, his Pegasystems software, for 11 months and made no sales. Today, go Google Alan Trefler. Alan Trefler's net worth is around $3.3 billion. He's the founder, the owner of Pegasystems, and was smart enough, the controlling shareholder. And that's the story of Alan Trefler. So he gets on and explains basically what you need to do to be successful. Now, how many people watch that? Very few, because no one watches the masters or the grandmasters of the financial world because they go, first of all, they don't know who they are. And then the thing is, a lot of times it's really hard to get the interview. We had John Scully on. He's the former CEO of Apple Computer, and John Scully actually has a book. I got it back here called Moonshot, and basically how you guide your company to be worth billions of dollars. And of course, today it's called Apple, and Apple is very well known. There's a whole list of people that are masters in how to monetize a situation, and who should you follow those people? But who do we follow? We follow our bloody teacher who teaches Algebra 1.
Not me.
There's some great mentors out there. They've been on our TV series, Money Masters. Adam Dell. We've had a full series of Federal Reserve where they actually shut down the Federal Reserve for us and gave us 4 exclusive VP.
Oh, and then, okay. So I'm a guy at the diner at this. I've been doing this stuff and my other
Not
profession
boring either.
for 37 years.
Funny.
So this is typical Facebook. And I talked to Kevin, I talked to Kim and Ankit about this all the time. Okay, so you go to Facebook. Hey, would you want to be on IBM TV on our program? First thing they go, scam. And I'm going like, what are you talking about? You've done no research, no due diligence. You have no clue what you're talking about. But let me tell you something about this, because we have this thing here called the power of positive thinking. That person does not have that power and will go nowhere. So I wish him good luck, because why would I care? And then the thing is, he's not going to go anywhere. And that's kind of like the name of the game. What I found out with all this major CEOs we've interviewed, Kim, how many were negative? And the first thing we called them up to get on the air, none. Seriously.
You have to be. If you're not, if you don't believe in your own product, then who's going to believe in it for you? Nobody.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Kevin, it's easier. Who'd you talk to, Kim?
Mark Cuban impressed me so much. We didn't have him on our show yet.
Yeah.
But I will tell you something about Mark Cuban. Doesn't know me from Adam. I pick up the phone, I call, and I talk, leave him a message that I'd like to speak to him, not even about being on the TV show, but I had another idea too. So he calls me in less than 30 minutes. 30 minutes.
Yeah, Mark Cuban. Yeah.
Done. So people, it's about your positiveness. It's about just getting back with people, getting the job done. That's what success, right?
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and monetary is only one way to measure it, because there's a lot of different ways to measure it. As Ankit will know, there's a lot of happy people over in India, and all of them aren't big monetary people, but they're bloody happy.
I just feel happy through COVID. I don't get it.
The happiest people in the world are in Denmark.
All these researchers on our show, they're not making money. They're not going, some of them are not going to work. Some of them had to lock down because they came in contact with COVID, and they're all just happy.
Yeah.
Just happy.
That's right. So the thing
guys,
is,
I actually have to get out. I have a call at 1:00. I have to.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Oh, you better get going, right?
Yeah, I want to do your fantasy football league. Give me on your league.
Pleasure. We got to get them together with Walter Football.
I will. And Christian McCaffrey. We'll talk about some.
Have Walter talk about it.
I had him last year. He helped me win a championship. He's amazing.
All right, we'll let him debate Walter.
We'll definitely talk. Maybe we'll get you on the and part. Well, maybe we'll collaborate the two shows or something. But definitely let's.
Kevin, I'm about to drop. Don't get off yet. I'm about to drop you my email too. I see you dropped yours, but I'd love to connect with you and figure out how we can.
Mine's easy. I'm not going to give it to you. I'm going to put it in private because I'm not going to share it on. I'm going to put it in private. Both of y'all connect with me. Please connect with me. Why didn't it go through?
I guess yours went through, Cam.
I got it. I'm getting them.
All right, Mr. Kevin.
Blues Radio. I love it.
Thank you, sir. Kind sir. All right.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for having me again. Real fast, Just Gutting the Sacred Cow, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, guttingthesacredcow.com is up. We now have merch available. I know we're jumping the gun, but might as well be ready when the onslaught happens. So, Gutting the Sacred Cow, every person in the podcast. Thank you so much, guys.